Welcome back to Marshall Remodel. For those of you who don't know, I'm Paul and this is my wife Emily.
And today's show is another episode of Getting the Most Out of Your Property. We are going to be sharing our 2021 garden update with you, but before we do that, we're going to share our porch refresh that we did using pretty much just a bunch of the stuff that we already had.
We have had this, I don't know, I think we bought it the first year we were married, so the cushions don't exist any longer. We priced out some new stuff and it is ridiculously expensive, so Emily decided we were gonna revitalize this. We bought some cushions. She'll talk about those a little bit, how much we paid for them, and we are going to paint this a new color. So before painting this, we dismantled the table, we left the chairs together, then we wiped everything down with wet towels just to make sure it was clean. We used Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover, which is a primer and paint in one, and then we just spray painted it, and it actually ended up working out really well.
This summer we decided we wanted to have something a little bit new and bright and fresh, but we didn't want to spend several $100s. So found these cushions at Aldi. They were, I think, $15 a piece, and then we spent less than $15 on spray paint, and we sprayed all of the metal, and that's all that it took to make the patio set kind of go from a pretty blah looking thing that you might consider throwing out to something that we're going to really enjoy for a long time. We've already spent a ton of time on the porch. As you guys probably know, we designed the house around this porch. It goes across the front and across this side. So we just put in a pool for the kids, and we'll be bringing that video to you in a few days. But we're really excited to spend most of our summer out here, and that's why we wanted to make sure we had a great place to eat meals. We had a little spot on the porch to sit and just watch the kids swim and enjoy it.
It's an update from our first gardening video where we planted the potatoes, which you can see here, and the onions, which you can see here, which we've already started eating the onions, and everything's worked out really good with the onions and the potatoes thus far. I've weeded around them. We've planted a ton of stuff since then, which I'll take you around and show you here in just a second, but we'll take a look at these potatoes and the onions. You can see these are coming in real nice. They're all the plants are up. The onions are looking good. I'm really excited about these potatoes because they're something that you can keep if you have a cool, dark place to keep them, and which we do. All right, so here we got pickling cucumbers, which when they get a little bigger, I know they're gonna make it, I'll probably thin these out a little bit. I got 4 mounds of those, and I'm gonna put a fence in here. I'm gonna take a cattle fence here, and so they can climb up it and it'll be easier. And these are pickling cucumbers. And then this is a different variety of cucumbers here that are good just for eating. And like I said, I'll thin these out once I know everything's gonna make it. And I got 4 mounds of those. One thing I was pretty disappointed with is my zucchini, which is usually really easy to plant and grow. Did not come in very well. I only got a couple plants to come up. So I replanted those yesterday. There's one of them. But zucchinis are typically one of those things that are real easy to grow. I don't know if we just got too much rain or the seed wasn't good or what the case may be, but we replanted those. We'll get those going again, and once those bloom, they do really well. So we got lots of tomatoes. I mulched around some of these with some grass, not all of them. You can see this one's already got flowers on it, blooms. So the tomatoes are a great thing to grow too, because you usually can get a pretty good harvest from those. We'll obviously eat a bunch of them. We'll can a ton of them. We'll probably make some sauce with them. See, Emily's got a bunch of herbs and stuff over here. We got chives, which obviously we got to cut a bunch of these down already, but they grow back. Once you cut them, they start growing back. Oregano, not sure what that is. We got garlic chives. And then she's got a bunch of other stuff growing here. I think those are beets. We got carrots. Then we got a bunch of pepper plants. And then another thing I was kind of disappointed with was the amount of beans we had come up, and I think it mostly had to do with the amount of rain. And if you can see, the garden kind of slopes off, and that's where I have these beans. I like to plant the beans along the fence because then they grow up the fence and it makes them really easy to pick. But I don't know, only about 50% of the beans came up, so I replanted those as well. And but that's it for so far in the garden. It's going pretty good. Kind of our strategy is to spend, what, 20-30 minutes a day in our garden, and it has become quite apparent to me, having this YouTube channel, that no matter what you do, you're not going to make everybody happy. But our purpose in sharing this garden with you is to show you that even though what we have here is simple, we're just making it work for us.
I think I have to replant some stuff with all the rain.
Yeah,
I think some of my herbs washed out.
Yeah, we've had 3 inches of rain in the last week. It's been good for some things and bad for others. But overall, the garden's looking pretty good. And we're just gonna keep working and then get a few more things planted today. Guys, one last thing I wanna talk about our garden before I go is I got lots of questions last time if this fence keeps the deer out. This fence is about 5 feet tall. I just got farm fence posts put in, and then I have a 4-foot woven wire fence attached all the way to the top, and then at the bottom I fastened chicken wire. So it's about 5 feet to there, and then the bottom couple feet I have chicken wire, and that keeps the rabbits and smaller varmints out. Last year I didn't have any problem with deer getting into the garden. They could easily jump this if they wanted to, but they left the garden alone for whatever the reason was. I did have a couple come up to the edge and try to pick at the beans on the outside of the fence, but they didn't jump inside. So I didn't have a problem with the deer, but I did have a problem with the raccoons. Once my corn got big enough, they literally came in, climbed over the fence, and cleaned the corn out in basically a night. Before this corn gets too much bigger, I'm gonna get a solar powered electric fence, and then I'll put it on the outside to keep the raccoons out. That's the only problem I had last year with this garden, was the raccoons. But we really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any questions about gardening or how we do things, and like I say on every video, there is a lot of ways to do everything. This is just the way we do it, for the amount of time we have, and for what we want to accomplish, and it works out well. And over the years, I'm sure our process will change and morph into what we find works good, works better, doesn't work so good, and so on and so forth. But we appreciate you guys watching, and we will catch you on the next video.